Well, hello, and welcome to the Texarsis Live. I am Shane Moore. It's been quite an experience. Had many technical problems getting started, getting on to where I could podcast. So anyway, enough of that. We'll be talking tonight about the paranormal and how it relates to consciousness, and how that our consciousness may not just be related to the paranormal, it may be responsible for the paranormal. Our mind is a very, very powerful thing that we have, much more powerful than we can imagine. So we will discuss how that these two are related and much more. So just relax, kick back, and feel free to join our live chat or give me a call on the show line at 903-956-0055. That's 903-956-0055. Outside of the U.S., just add 1 to that and call in, taking your questions, comments, personal experiences. Don't be shy. Anyway, I'm going to take a short break and allow listeners who want to join our live chat to do so. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
You want to, please don't be polite, cause I like your attitude. Let's forget about a curfew, cause all that is stuck in my head. It's me and you, both speeding, my heart is racing, but I'm not sure I wanna pace it, cause it only does this with you. Our bodies meet, I can feel the tension, move us into the next dimension. Let's just let our bodies be true. We make out for the thrill of it, mess around for the thrill of it. Don't stop now, never let this end. For the thrill of it, we can have it, no regret. We make out for the thrill of it, mess around for the thrill of it. Don't stop now, never let this end. For the thrill of it, we can have it, no regret. Let's live life without regrets. Girl, put your faith in me, even though we just met. Let's forget about a curfew, cause all that is stuck in my head. It's me and you, both speeding, my heart is racing, but I'm not sure I wanna face it, cause it only does this with you. Our bodies meet, I can feel the tension, move us into the next dimension. Let's just let our bodies be true. We make out for the thrill of it, mess around for the thrill
And I am back. Hello, Elaine. Well, better late than never. Of course, I let people know that we were going to start at 12:30, and here we are starting an hour later. Had some problems with YouTube. I was going to do a live podcast in YouTube at the same time, and only to log into my YouTube account and have it after I set everything up and going to go live on YouTube, and it says they said we have to re-verify your account and before you can live chat or before you can broadcast live. Well, they've already verified my account. I've got everything, verified everything. And night before last, I was on YouTube and did like a 4.5 hour show on YouTube Live. So that really makes no sense unless they have a problem with my content, what I'm saying, and but we're not going to talk about that tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about, as I said, the paranormal and how it relates to consciousness, to the human mind, and how that it may be that we can share stories, personal experiences about how they're not only related, but if you think about it, may even be responsible for much of what we see as paranormal activity. The way I look at it is it's not paranormal, it's not extraordinary, it's just normal power that we just don't understand yet, that we may not even realize that we're using. And that's not to say that everything paranormal is from our consciousness or from our mind. But if you think about it, the old saying that many people create their own demons, that's true. I mean, it is very well. It's not easy, but it's easier to blame someone else or blame the devil or a demon or whatever when you make a mistake, when you do something bad. I mean, kids do that. It's just it's human nature, the blame game. So anyway, think about that, and we'll talk about clairvoyance, telekinesis, different things that have been studied and proven time and time again. If you research remote viewing, which we'll talk about tonight, and even do some live tests or trial runs, we'll see if we can get some successful remote viewing. Hey, it's not going to be boring. So, Elaine, you say, I think that we manifest situations that will cause the dark energies to attach themselves to us. Absolutely right. That is true. It's like I forget who said it, but it says says, I have seen the enemy, and the enemy is us, or the enemy is myself, or whatever. And that is so true. When you think about it, we think about the boogeyman, we think about demons, we think about the devil and things like that. But the worst enemy that you could ever face would be yourself. That's right, Elaine. The enemy is within. And if you're going to destroy something, do you destroy it by attacking it from without or from within? Well, if you attack it from without, it's going to defend itself, whether it be a country, a house, or people in a house, or whatever, a building, a fort. I mean, they're going to defend themselves. But if you attack it from within, well, it's much easier to be successful in the destruction of whatever that is, because it's just I don't know. It's very strange. It's very hard to explain, but it's like we deceive ourselves sometimes and cause our very own consciousness, our mind, to turn against itself in a way. And I don't know if that would be a type of fragmentation or dissociation. I think many times it would be considered that. But nevertheless, it's very interesting and fascinating. How the mind splits, under tremendous stress or whatever. But and it does that not out of weakness, but out of strength. And it's amazing. It is really amazing that that the mind will. It's like it sacrifices part of itself to save the whole. Sacrifices a part to save the whole. And so that's it's pretty interesting that it would, that's how it works. But that's exactly what it is, in my opinion. So anyway, it would be bad enough for someone to have the enemy, like a foreign enemy, be inside your mind, which would be, I'm not going to go down this road, but it would be what would be called possession, correct? Yeah, that's frightening. I mean, that is unsettling. But when it's your own mind that playing tricks on you or has somehow turned against you, and that's what I want to talk about tonight, is what are your theories, those of you that are listening and taking part in the live chat, what are your theories on that? On how the mind turns seemingly against itself, which is exactly what it does, and why that it would seek to destroy or to harm. I don't know. Would it be a type of I don't know, type of memory loss. Hey, baby, there's Mona. I'm glad you did. She said just sneaking in for a minute. Oh, okay. Thank you, Tina. Welcome. Glad you're here. Okay. Yeah. We got started late, later than from that everything. But anyway, I'm gonna keep on and just press forward. And if I'm shut down on one platform, I'll just go to another. And if I'm shut down on that one, I'll go to another. I'll take it all the way to the top. As far as I have to. My grandmother used to say, she said, you know, they could cut your head off, but your head would still be talking. Yeah, my grandmother knew me very, very well. So anyway, yes, I've never had a problem voicing my opinion, not being rude or anything, but just voicing my opinion. And last time I checked, we in the United States, we have the freedom of speech, correct? Well, looks like that it's not so free anymore. There's stipulations that are coming with it. But again, we're going to change the subject tonight. I have really, the last 3 or 4 shows have been on that topic, and I don't want to miss out on all of the other topics that we could be talking about. And because I'm seemingly obsessed, or not obsessed, but I'm just, it just really bothers me deeply what's taking place. And but anyway, what are your views on, what's your opinion? Do you believe that, what do you believe the mind is capable of? This is my theory, is I believe that the mind, in such cases where people they experience paranormal activity, not all the time, but sometimes, maybe more than we could imagine. But I believe that their mind fragments, like I said, it sacrifices part of itself to save the whole. Because if it doesn't, it knows that all's going to be lost. So, however, I believe that there are times, and this sounds very strange and it's very far out there, but just bear with me, is that the mind fragments, and it disassociates, and the person's imagination, their mind, is so powerful that it creates an alter, dissociative identity disorder, DID. Used to be called multiple personality disorder. But as rare as that is, or as rare as we once thought it was, statistics are showing that it's more common than we think. But I believe that these alters, that there are some people that have such a powerful imagination that they create the alter And they create it so perfectly that the altar becomes somewhat, I guess you could, the term sentient, for lack of a better term, becomes sentient. And it says, hey, I don't need this host. And it goes rogue. It literally detaches. And I think a lot of times, or sometimes, in cases where people say, oh, I've got a haunting, there's a ghost in my house, or there's a demon, could it be that it's actually a part of, or a creation that the person themselves have subconsciously created, and it has done just that. It's gone rogue. Your thoughts on that? Elaine, you say, I think that the mind has the capacity to turn on itself by chemical imbalances, electrical issues, synapses misfiring, neurotransmitters not working properly in the physical form. The conscious and unconscious can have a battle of will, so to speak, and therefore what we perceive as a conflict with heart and mind, the subconscious and or conscious can turn on the other. The perception of the reality of what is going on, and thus what is felt, at times the mind cannot comprehend what it sees, feels, tastes from the physical aspects. It can go into the fight or flight mode. If the brain or heart perceives as something that will endanger the host, then it can cause outcomes that the brain can therefore receive and deal with on a more conscious and physical level. Yes. Very true. Very well said. I believe that. I agree with that. You say if the brain or heart perceives as something that will endanger the host, and it can cause outcomes. It can cause outcomes on a conscious or subconscious level to deal with whatever is taking place, And you say at 1:54 a.m., what do you mean? 1:54? So that's oh yeah. You are coherent. I mean, wow. Now, see, I'm the one that's kind of slow now. I thought, what's she putting the time down for? So, yeah. Anyway, so the person that we would say has dissociative, right? She says, meaning coming up with a response at 1:54 a.m. Yeah, that's a feat. I didn't even understand it. I was like, what is she talking about? So that tells you where I'm at. But so when we are talking to, say you're talking to a person that has dissociative identity disorder, are you talking with that person, or are you talking to a completely different person? And I did say person because these alters, in some of the cases of DID or MPD, that's the only definition that you can give them. I mean, they call them alters, but some of them you could very well call a person, because they're just that. They're a person. They're so perfectly created. The only thing is they don't have a they don't have a body. They use another. Well, it's strange. They use the same body that the host uses, which is very, very strange. I didn't know it was going to be this weird talking about it, but it is, because we're talking about the body and what inhabits the body. Well, there's always been the question about the brain, the mind, and the spirit or soul. Is there a difference? People say, well, the mind makes up the soul and the spirit, or, well, okay, maybe so. Maybe so. But what we just talked about, if the mind can create a personality, a person, and all of its details and everything, and that personality or that being becomes sentient and oftentimes much more intelligent than the host, says, what if it said, or what if it had the power to say, I don't need to stick around. And boom. Where does it go? I mean, does it leave that host? Does it leave the body? Would you define that as the person, or would you define it as something that is now what we would consider to be foreign to that person? Which just opens Pandora's box when you start to think about it. I mean, think about, and we're, talking about this, and it's like, whoa, this is so bad. This is so bad. And in some cases it is bad. But on the flip side of that, it proves, and beyond any shadow of a doubt, the power of our mind, the power of our consciousness. Whoa. If you can create, if our consciousness can create a sentient being that does not need, that comes to a point where it doesn't need you anymore, or doesn't need the host anymore, that's profound beyond anything. That is, well, in my opinion, that is equivalent to, I don't know, the invention of the nuclear bomb, or nuclear power, or discovering it. Think about it. I mean, if that is true, then think about how we go through life, allowing life to live us. And think about that power, that vast power, to be able to do that. In a way, someone, or we all, I believe that we all have the power to do so. It's just that some have the imagination, and Einstein himself said that imagination is more important than knowledge. And I believe that. I believe that a lot of knowledge comes from imagination. So, and all the daydreamers said, amen. I mean, that's, trust me, my mind never stops. And I know that many of your minds never stop. I'm always thinking about something, just different things, and just my imagination has no bounds. And I used to think, wow, I'm so weird. Well, I am weird, but it's certainly not boring. So, your thoughts on what we could do? Would it be possible for us to create worlds? I don't know, somehow, and don't take this the wrong way, but could we ourselves, in this sense, could we create what would be termed as persons, spirits, entities from ourself? Wouldn't that make us somewhat like God, or somewhat like the Creator, or a Creator? And how can we be so sure that that's not the case with the Creator? Who knows? The Bible says that God is spirit. Those who worship Him must worship Him in spirit and truth. Well, spirit is not really tangible, but it's nevertheless real. And truth isn't tangible, but it's real. So I'm really, really opening Pandora's box, going deep, swimming in the deep tonight, very deep. And I just seem to be going deeper and deeper and deeper, even for me. So anyway, but it is food for thought, and really has my mind going 90 to nothing. It's amazing. And children have the. Hey, Randy, glad you joined us. We're talking about how the mind, how our consciousness may be related to the paranormal, paranormal activity, paranormal events, and how that it may not only be related, but it may be responsible, which would be really just scare a lot of people. I mean, to think that we could be responsible for what is actually scaring us or causing problems in our lives. What some people call hauntings or ghosts or demonic activity. Could it be that they themselves are projecting that from their own consciousness? Sometimes we were talking about dissociative identity disorder, and how the mind fragments, seemingly sacrifices a part of itself to save the whole. But when that part fragments, is it possible for that part to become sentient and become rogue and go on its own way? It doesn't need the host anymore. And could that be the definition? Could that be the meaning of what ghosts and demons and all that really are? Randy, you say, sorry, I got dropped off at work, so the other half and the girls came to get me, then I dropped them back at home and back to work. Yay. Oh, no problem. No problem. I'm glad you're here. But yeah, that's that would be my that would be my theory on many cases of just that paranormal activity. Is it paranormal? Well, that's the term, but it's normal activity that we don't yet understand, or we're not used to. And what we don't understand, we fear. Some of us are fascinated by it. Also fear it, but we're fascinated by it. So, inquiring minds want to know. Yes. But, Randy, I know that you're driving, but when you get a chance, just, let us, know what your views are on that. You say that kind of makes sense, what you're saying. Well, I told Mona, we were talking about 2 weeks ago, and I told her, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I told her that this, same thing is that, said, it's the person, many times, it's the person that it's like the old saying, they create their own demons, or they create their own hell. Okay, you're at work. Oh, great. And I just thought that was a cliche, But, man, now, after, seeing it up close and personal, it's like, well, it's not just a cliche, I don't think. I think I think there's some truth in that if it's not completely true. And, Randy, you say, I can see how someone would think it was paranormal if one of the other personalities are doing things, they obviously wouldn't know it. Right. And, it's like I have often wondered what would happen, or how it would happen, if there was an altar that became so powerful that it went rogue. And many of these altars are vastly more intelligent than the host, and some can speak different languages that the person's never studied, which is very, very intriguing. And there have been people that say, like, a person is the host and they've got dissociative identity disorder, MPD. They're completely drunk, completely inebriated, and they arrive home. I know there was one case where a woman, her husband called her from the bar and said, he was drunk, and this other man took over the phone and said that he was going to drive Bob home, or whatever his name was. So her husband got to the door, unlocked the door, and he came in, and she said, where's Ralph, or whoever, And it was her husband. He said, I'm Ralph. I drove Bob home. Well, Bob was drunk, but it was the altar that took over. So was Bob drunk? Yes, Bob was drunk. Was Bob's body drunk? Well, not when Ralph, or the altar, was in charge. And there has even been reported cases where when the altar has taken over in, cases like this, that they do a blood test and there's no alcohol in the blood. Sober. Yeah, this person's not drunk. But if the host comes back, oh yeah, it's, it'd blow the tester up. Which is amazing. That's what I'm saying is, what if something that we have viewed as bad and, a problem and unsettling and scary, which, it is unsettling, but what if we look at it another way as proof of the power of our consciousness? I mean, wouldn't that make us like the Creator? I mean, the Bible says we were made in His image, that God created man in His image. Do people with DID, MPD, do they create people, personalities, which is what defines us as people, as a person? Do they create the altars in their own image? Well, I believe that they do to a certain degree. And you say, I totally agree on the creating your own hell. I'm trying to avoid doing it to myself again. Well, I believe that that's something that we all battle with. It's just seems like it's human nature to, I don't know, to create the hell. It would be so nice if it was our nature to create heaven or paradise, but that doesn't seem to be the case. You say, like on the movie Split, where one of his altars is the beast. Yes, he had 23 personalities, and then the secret is there wasn't just 23, there was 24. And the 24th was the beast, which was, he was over all of them. And those of you that have seen the movie, it is creepy. But thank you for that, Randy, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is just like the movie Split. Is this James McAvoy, I believe is his name. He plays a good part. I don't know how he did it, but all these different personalities and but that beast, when that beast came, it literally changed his physical body. I mean, he had supernatural strength. He had speed. He could run, and Randy, phew, the movie nerd to the rescue. Oh, that was a good movie. But there again, he was amazing. He was amazing in that role. He's a very good actor. But when he bent those iron bars, I was like, whoa, this just got into a whole nother realm, and his eyes were black, which that, that sometimes happens. I mean, it happens with people that are psychotic or, having a psychotic episode. They have certain things that, physical changes that take place. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's a psychosis, it's a psychotic episode or some kind of mental duress. So that would be, there again, consciousness. It would be related to the mind. And, whoa, it's like, is this coming from the outside or is this coming from the inside? Is this something foreign or is this something that is part of this person? And the ramifications of either are frightening. But also fascinating and, I believe, promising to some extent. Because if we can create with our minds, with our consciousness. Randy, you say, and the different altars can write with different hands, handwriting styles, accents, languages. Yes. And there have been reported cases where the host was blind, but the altars could see. The host was deaf, and the altars could hear. Possibly, I don't know if this is true or not, or if this is just something that was made up or whatever. But I think it was said that the there was a woman that had altars. She had been abused and everything, and she was blind. And but the altars could see, and her optical nerves or whatever it is that was causing her blindness actually regenerated, and then she could see. The host could see because of something the altars did. So what we're saying is the implications of that would be, okay, her creations of the altars. Okay, no problem, Elaine. Yes, good night, and thank you for being here. Yes, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a night too, pretty quick, because this was just a long night. So, stubborn me, I wasn't going to go down without without doing even a short show. So thank you for being here. And sure. Yeah. Randy, you say that's interesting and crazy. What part of it is interesting and crazy exactly to you? You say I'd be heading to bed if I didn't have to work. Yeah. Mona's working too, so. That's yes. But my point is that if that could, right, the nerves regenerating for the host, which, if you think about it, what I'm just putting out there, food for thought, is if our consciousness can create, say, a sentient being, which, how do we define a person? Well, of course, I don't know, a body, but mainly by their personality, by their, so their consciousness. So if we can create other conscious beings, whether they have their own body or they use our body, or if it's just all us, if we can create, then would it be safe to assume that we could destroy? Such as, think about that in relation to someone with cancer. If the altars could regenerate the nerves for the host, then I believe that theoretically they could destroy cancer cells for the host. If you can create, you should be able to destroy. I mean, it's like if you can heal, you can kill. And the implications of that are just mind-boggling, which we're talking about the mind. So, crazy. Or is it? Einstein, when he said the imagination is more important than knowledge, why would he say that? I mean, was he speaking cryptically? I mean, was he giving us a hint that, your knowledge is useless without imagination? Where does knowledge come from? It comes from our consciousness, right? My belief is, and I've always said this, is that learning, when you learn something, such as learning in school or college or whatever, really it's nothing more than, you're studying for a test. What are you doing? You're memorizing. You're memorizing things. I'm not going to say knowledge. I'm going to say you're memorizing things so you can answer the questions for the test. But is that really, is that the definition of knowledge? Just because you are memorizing something. I mean, really anybody can memorize anything. But how many people can imagine or think of something that has never been thought of before? And I believe that what your mind can conceive and what it can believe, it can be a reality. I mean, it can. I think I screwed that up. What you believe you can conceive. And that is profound, because it makes us the creators of our reality. But why is it, and this is proof, or could be proof of what I'm saying my theory is. Why is everyone, seemingly everyone, even those that say that they don't have, any problems with doubt or whatever. I'm not saying everyone, I'm just saying a lot of people. More than normal. Why is it that there is so much self-doubt, self-depreciation? We think much more of others than we put so much worth, not self-worth, but we put so much worth on others. And we put very little self-worth on ourselves. Why is that? A lot of people view themselves as being weak, being inadequate, and not being enough. Why is that? Because we've been indoctrinated to believe that. And look at how much power that's had over us. I mean, man, I lived for like 30 years of my life believing just that I was weak, and that I wasn't that I wasn't strong, and this and that. And then when my eyes were open, I was like, man, I've got to get busy. I've got a lot of catching up to do. Because that was a lie. Why? Why is that promoted? Why is that pushed on us so much? Well, look at the power that it has. And I know that there's people listening that aren't taking part in the chat, people that are listening to the rebroadcast. And you know the power, the negative power that it's had on your life for so long. Very powerful. Now think about reversing it. And think about the power. If it can impede your life, if it can negatively affect you in such a powerful way, then that's proof that it can powerfully affect you in a positive way. Correct? What goes up must come down. As above, so below. I mean, that duality, or whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Well, I know what I'm trying to say, and I hope that you understand I apologize that I can't. But yes, there's that. If something can affect you so powerfully and change your life, affect your life in such a profound way that you see and feel, even physically, you see and you feel yourself as weak. You look in the mirror and you see yourself as ugly. You see yourself as dumb. You see yourself as this and that. What? I did it for years. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm saying, wake up. It's not true. You know. But what has been instilled in us is probably the best thing for negativity to rule, and that is to compare ourselves to everyone else. Yes. Compare yourself with not only the famous people, the Hollywood stars, the the elite, as they're called, but your neighbors, your brother, your sister, it's crazy. But yes, that has worked to bring so many people down. Compare yourself with others. And if you do that, it's a sure, it is definitely going to destroy you, or it's going to keep you down. Randy said, let me see here. As Benita tells Saliana when Saliana gets nervous or is unsure of herself, see it, then be it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Children. Wow. Because we're taught that having pride, being prideful is a negative thing. Yes, absolutely. That's what's been taught. When someone says negative things to us, we take it as the truth instead of saying, no, I know that's not true. I have strength and I'm powerful. Yes. Of all the people I've had telling me positive things about myself, the negative junk still sticks around in my head, and it's harder to believe the positive things. Honestly believe that person is being truthful instead of, oh, they're just saying that to be nice, or another reason. I know exactly how that feels. Yes. And to some point, I still struggle with it. I don't take compliments well. They make me uncomfortable. So that's why when someone gives me a compliment or many compliments, so I usually, there's been some people where I have made like a joke or a few jokes about it, and they've looked at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm thinking, well, I'm just very uncomfortable. Not that they had any ill intentions, but it did make me uncomfortable. Do I like compliments? Well, yes. I mean, everybody does. Do I need compliments? Not really. I mean, but I don't know. It's very strange, and this is going to be a short episode tonight, but man, probably a good thing because there's so many things that are so thought provoking. Randy, you say I'm so bad about comparing myself or feeling like I have to compete with certain people for certain things. Well, you're not the only one. I mean, now that's something that I have never really had a problem with. Don't take this the wrong way. People, listening, don't take this the wrong way. But, someone says, and I have had, I'm not going to name names or say who the people are, but well, you need to be more like, you could be like, and I'm thinking, I could be if I gave a damn. I'm serious. Did it bother me that I wasn't like, whoever they said. No. They obviously thought it was, trying to make me feel bad. And I'm thinking, you're wasting your time, because I do not care. I could care less, and those that do that, those that say, well, you should be more like your brother, you should be more like your sister, they're the ones that are they themselves are they do that because they care. They compare themselves with everyone. And if you have noticed, this is a common thing, a common theme that I have seen in many people, is that those that are the power hungry, those that need to always be the top dog at any cost. Why is that? Why are they that way? Because anyone that may be knowledgeable or even slightly more intelligent than they are threatens them in such a way, because they're so insecure, that they only surround themselves with people who are vastly less intelligent than they are, or so beaten down, so downtrodden, that they will always be, the smartest and the brightest, and because they surround themselves with people that are much less intelligent. Now, I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just speaking truth, and I'm sure that you've seen this. You've seen people that this macho redneck, or it can be anything. This manly man, well, I'm not going to hang out with somebody that is always talking about intelligent things. I mean, and that's something I can't stand. I cannot stand someone who is willfully ignorant, which is the definition of stupidity. Yeah, it's best that I not even be around them, because I can't take it. I mean, I'm allergic to it. Randy, you say, I keep listening to part of a lecture that Ram Dass did about loving yourself more. He says you don't go into the woods and compare the trees. This one is too bent, too short, to this or that. You appreciate the trees as they are. Start looking at yourself and other people like they're trees. Just appreciate them as they are. And you say, I keep trying to remember that. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. And it's just like me with dogs. And I know you love dogs, Randy. Yeah, every dog in my book, in my mind, in my heart, is the best dog in the world. I don't care what breed. I don't care how big. I don't care how small. I don't care how old, how young. They're the most amazing dog in the world. Do I compare them to, say, well, this one's big and strong, this one's small and weak? No. lose yourself like that. Look at yourself like that. And don't compare yourself with other people. I mean, we all have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. But when you accept your weaknesses, even your weaknesses become strength to you. I'll say that again. When you accept your weaknesses as part of you, and you don't try to cover them up, you don't try to hide them, you're not ashamed of them, they become strengths. It's just like, I talk about Muhammad Ali a lot. When he and Joe Frazier fought, the fight of the century, and it really was, 15 rounds of probably the best, the most brutal, skillful, just, the best. Just two, it was the scientific boxer, the scientist against the brawler. I mean, and it was the classic matchup. And man, it was just so exciting. But Muhammad Ali had never lost a fight, and Joe Frazier had never lost a fight. Well, that night, one was going to lose, and it turned out to be Muhammad Ali. He lost the decision. He went to 15 rounds, and but they asked him, they said, what happened? And just about every other man, every other boxer would say, well, my shoes were too big, or the ropes were too loose in the ring, or, it was something I ate, or it was too hot, or, What did Muhammad Ali say when they asked him, what happened tonight? And he said, Joe Frazier was the better man tonight. Whoa. What did he say? I mean, he said, Joe Frazier was the better man tonight. When he said that, when he admitted that he lost fair and square, he's not called the greatest for no reason. When he did that, even in losing, he won. Yeah, he lost the fight in the ring, but being so confident that he could embrace losing probably the most important fight of his career, and he could be honest about it and say, well, Joe Frazier was the better man tonight. Yeah, he beat me. Never made an excuse or anything. Even in losing, he won. Wow, that is there again, our consciousness can create our victories and our defeats. It can create our wins and it can create our losses. Even when we think it seems all hope is lost. There's no way I can come out of this as the winner. Think again. Think again. But I will really go much more into this. I said we were going to talk about the psychokinesis, telekinesis, and things like that. But it's so late now. It is 2:40 here, so I'm going to call it a night, and we will resume this next podcast and get very, very deep into the subject, and it will be mind-blowing. So anyway, those of you that would like to contact me, you can contact me at the texarsispodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me at 903-956-0055. You can also text me at that number, 903-956-0055, and I will text you back, or I'll give you a call back. Would really be best if you text me, because that way I'll know what your topic is that you're contacting me about, and I can be ready. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. We'll see you next time. Good night, Randy. And thank you, Elaine and Patricia, for being here and taking part. I believe Nezreen was here too, and Mona. Thank you so much. See you next time.